Did you know Elvis Presley once played a guitar covered entirely in hand-tooled leather? Or that one of his most famous guitars was actually borrowed for his legendary comeback special? And get this, he sometimes just gave away his expensive custom guitars to fans or band members right off the stage. Number 12. The humble K, archtop. Okay, let's rewind, way back, before the screaming crowds, before Graceland, before the legend. We're talking early days in Tupelo and Memphis. Elvis Aaron Presley, just a kid dreaming big dreams, needed something to strum. His very first guitar wasn't a flashy Gibson or a booming Martin. Sources point towards a modest K, archtop acoustic guitar. Think basic, functional, affordable. This wasn't about making crowds roar yet. This was about learning chords, finding melodies, figuring out this whole music thing. Details are scarce, as you'd expect from something so early and before fame struck. Some accounts say his mother Gladys bought it for him at the Tupelo Hardware Company for around $7.75 plus tax, after he initially wanted a rifle. Imagine that choice. Gladys steered him towards music. This K wasn't fancy. It likely had a pressed wood top, maybe a simple sunburst finish, the kind of instrument countless aspiring musicians started on. It didn't have the deep resonance of later guitars, but it served its purpose. It was the tool that allowed young Elvis to mimic the country blues and gospel sounds he heard on the radio and in church. It was the guitar on which he likely practiced Old Shep, a song that reportedly won him second place at a talent contest at the Mississippi-Alabama Fair and Dairy Show when he was just 10 years old. While no recordings exist of him playing this specific K, its importance is undeniable. It's the genesis, the spark. It represents the absolute beginning of a journey that would change music forever. It wasn't about the sound it produced in a professional sense, but about the potential it unlocked in a young boy from Mississippi. It was the first step, the foundation upon which everything else was built. Without this simple K, who knows if the journey would have even started? It's a reminder that legends often have incredibly humble beginnings. Number 11. The Stepping Stone Martin, 0 to 18. Before Elvis exploded onto the national scene, he was honing his craft, playing small gigs, and starting to make waves locally. During this crucial formative period, roughly late 1954 to early 1955, he acquired a step up from his earliest instruments, a Martin 0 to 18 acoustic guitar. Martin guitars were and still are renowned for their quality and sound. The 0 to 18 was a smaller-bodied guitar compared to the big dreadnoughts, but it packed a punch with its mahogany back and sides and spruce top. This combination typically delivers a clear, balanced tone with a strong mid-range, great for accompanying vocals and cutting through in a small group setting. Elvis was seen playing this Martin during his early performances at places like the Louisiana Hayride, a famous live radio show that was a stepping stone for many country stars. Photos from this era show a young, energetic Elvis pouring his heart out with the Martin 0 to 18 right there with him. It wasn't as flashy as the guitars that would come later featuring Martins. Typically understated, elegant design, natural wood finish, simple binding, dot inlays on the fingerboard. But its quality was evident. This guitar would have been a significant upgrade, offering better projection, tone, and playability than his earlier instruments. It helped shape his sound as he transitioned from purely local phenomenon to signing with Sun Records. You can imagine him working out early arrangements of songs like That's All Right or Blue Moon of Kentucky on this very guitar. It bridged the gap between his absolute beginner phase and his first taste of professional recording and performing. While he didn't keep it for long, once fame hit the Martin, 0 to 18 represents a vital period of growth and the developing confidence of an artist about to conquer the world. It was the sound of Elvis just before he became Elvis. Number 10. The Sun Records Workhorse, 1955, Martin D28. Now we're getting serious. As Elvis's career ignited at Sun Records in Memphis under Sam Phillips, his guitar needed to keep pace. Enter the legendary Martin D28. Elvis acquired his, a 1955 model, likely in mid-1955. The D28 is often considered the quintessential acoustic guitar, the dreadnought powerhouse. With its rosewood back and sides and spruce top, it produced a deep, booming bass, sparkling highs, and incredible volume, perfect for driving the rhythm of his early rockabilly sound. This wasn't just a stage prop. This guitar was integral to the Sun sound. While Scotty Moore handled the electric leg guitar duties, Elvis's powerful percussive rhythm playing on the D28 laid the foundation. Think about those early Sun recordings, the energy, the drive. A significant part of that raw acoustic power came from Elvis and this Martin. It was visually striking too, though still relatively traditional compared to later customs. It had the classic Martin look, but Elvis, ever the showman, added his own touch. He had a custom, hand-tooled leather cover made for it, featuring his name embossed on it. This wasn't just for looks. It also protected the guitar from his energetic, sometimes aggressive, strumming style. Photos and early TV appearances from 1955 often feature Elvis with this leather-clad D28. It was there for his transition from Sun to RCA Records. It was heard on early RCA hits as well. This guitar was a true workhorse during arguably the most revolutionary period of his career, the birth of rock and roll. It saw countless shows, grueling tour schedules, and was part of the whirlwind that launched him into superstardom. Eventually, the guitar showed signs of wear and tear. That leather cover didn't protect everything, and Elvis moved on to other instruments. But the '55 Martin D28 remains iconic, a symbol of his raw, grounding early sound and the transition from regional sensation to national phenomenon. It's currently displayed at Graceland, leather cover and all, a testament to its place in music history. Number 9. The first King Said Axe 1956 Gibson J-200 Natural, 1956. Elvis was no longer just a star. He was a cultural earthquake. His sound was everywhere. His television appearances caused nationwide hysteria, and his image was becoming iconic. He needed a guitar that matched his larger-than-life persona. Enter the Gibson J-200, often called the King of the Flat-Tops. Elvis got his first one, a 1956 model, in a beautiful natural finish, often referred to as antique natural or blonde, in October 1956. This guitar was HUG visually and sonically. With its large super jumbo body, maple back and side, spruce top, distinctive mustache, bridge, floral engraved pickguard, and crown inlays on the fretboard, the J-200 screamed star power. It was flashy, bold, and commanded attention, just like Elvis himself. He acquired it at OK. Hawk Piano Komi in Memphis, trading in his now well-worn Martin D28. This J-200 quickly became his main acoustic guitar for live performances and publicity photos throughout late 1956 and 1957. Think of iconic images from this peak rock and roll era. Elvis on stage, leg shaking, microphone tilted, and this big, beautiful blonde Gibson strapped on. It became synonymous with his image during this incredibly fertile period. Sonically, the maple construction gave the J-200 a bright, powerful, and projective tone, different from the Martin's darker boom. It was perfect for cutting through the screams of the crowd and providing that driving rhythm for hits like Hound Dog, Don't Be Cruel, and Love Me Tender during live shows. It wasn't just an instrument, it was a statement piece, a visual anchor for the Elvis phenomenon. This specific guitar, serial number A22937, became one of his most photographed and recognizable instruments. Like the D28 before it, he eventually had a custom leather cover made for this one too, again featuring his name. This iconic J-200 is now one of the prize exhibits at Graceland. Number 8. The movie star Black Beauty, 1950s Gibson J-200, custom black. As Elvis transitioned into his Hollywood movie era in the late 1950s and early 1960s, his guitars often reflected the roles he played or the specific look desired for film productions. While he continued to use J-200s, one particularly notable variant emerged, a custom black Gibson J-200. This wasn't just a standard model painted black. It often featured custom appointments. One prominent example was used around the time of the film Loving You, 1957, and Jailhouse Rock, 1957. While the natural blonde J-200 was his main stage guitar, black guitars offered a different kind of visual flair, looking particularly sharp on black and white film and photography. This black J-200 maintained the model's large size and distinctive features like the mustache bridge and ornate pickguard, but the black finish gave it a sleeker, perhaps slightly tougher look. Details suggest this might have been one of his existing J-200s, refinished in black, or a separate instrument altogether. Gibson J-200s became a recurring theme for Elvis. He clearly loved their look and feel. This black version cemented the J-200's place as the Elvis acoustic guitar model. It appeared in numerous publicity stills and potentially in some film scenes, though often movie guitars were props. The visual impact was undeniable. The contrast of the black guitar against his often colorful movie wardrobe created a striking image. It projected sophistication and star power fitting for the world's biggest entertainer, now also a major movie star. While perhaps not used as extensively live as the '56 blonde model during this period, the black J-200 represents the fusion of Elvis the musician and Elvis the Hollywood icon. It showcased how his instruments were becoming integral parts of his carefully crafted public image, adapting to the changing demands of his multifaceted career. It kept the visual signature of the J-200 shape while offering a different aesthetic vibe. Number 7. The Gretsch Connection 1963 Gretsch 6122 Country Gentleman. Okay, let's add a different flavor to the mix. While Gibson J-200s dominated his acoustic world, Elvis wasn't exclusively a Gibson man when it came to electrics, though Scotty Moore often played Gibsons. He was famously photographed holding and playing a Gretsch country gentleman, specifically the 6122 model around 1963 to 1964. Now, the Gretsch story with Elvis is interesting. While he's most famously associated with holding one in publicity photos, particularly one identical to George Harrison's favored model, double cutaway walnut stain gold hardware double mutes, documented evidence of him using it extensively for recording or live performance is harder to pin down definitively compared to his main Martins and Gibsons. However, the visual association is strong. The country gentleman was a high-end, beautiful hollow body, electric guitar. Its Filtron pickups delivered a unique tone, clearer and brighter than Gibson's humbuckers, often described as having more twang but still full-bodied. Why Gretsch? Perhaps it was the Beatles' connection. The Fab Four were dominating the charts, and Harrison's use of the country gentleman was highly visible. Having Elvis pictured with a similar guitar created a subtle link between the King and the new British invasion sensations. Or maybe he just liked the guitar. Gretsch guitars had a certain visual appeal, sophisticated yet cool. The photos often show him looking relaxed, perhaps noodling on the Gretsch during studio downtime or rehearsals. It represents a period where Elvis was deep into his movie career, still recording soundtracks but not touring. The Gretsch adds a touch of 60s sophistication to his guitar arsenal image. While Scotty Moore remained his primary electric guitarist for recordings, seeing Elvis with the Gretsch suggested his own continued engagement with the electric guitar, an instrument central to his initial explosion. Whether used extensively or not, the Gretsch country gentleman remains a notable part of the Elvis guitar visual lexicon, linking him to another iconic brand and the sounds of the mid-60s. Number 6. The Wild One. Gibson EB-1250 double neck. This one is pure Hollywood spectacle. Remember the 1966 movie Spin Out? Elvis plays a race car driving band leader, naturally. In the film, he wields one of the most visually outrageous guitars of the era, a Gibson EBS-1250 double neck. This beast combined a standard 6-string electric guitar, similar to an SG, on the bottom neck with a short-scale electric bass guitar on the top neck. His was finished in a vibrant cherry red, making it impossible to miss. Gibson had introduced double neck models primarily for players who needed to switch quickly between guitar and bass lines or between different guitar tunings, sounds like a 6-string and a 12-string. In Elvis's hands, in Spin Out, it was less about practical musical necessity and more about sheer visual impact. It looked incredibly cool, futuristic, and complex, perfect for a rock and roll movie star. The image of Elvis nonchalantly handling this twin-necked monster became instantly iconic. Did he actually need a bass and a 6-string in the same song within the movie's context? Probably, not often. But did it look amazing on screen? Absolutely. The guitar itself was based on the SG body style, thin, light, relatively speaking for a double neck, with double cutaways for easy access to upper frets. It would have been equipped with Gibson humbucking pickups, delivering a powerful rock sound from the 6-string portion and a thick, heavy tone from the bass neck. While primarily a movie prop associated with Spin Out, the Gibson EBS-1250 became one of the most famous guitars linked to Elvis, purely because of its unique look and cinematic connection. It wasn't a stage workhorse or a studio staple for him, but it perfectly captured the fun, slightly over-the-top vibe of his mid-60s movie career. It's a guitar that screams rock star excess in the best possible way and cemented its place in Elvis lore. Number 5. The Comeback Cool 1968 Hagstrom Viking II 1968. Elvis was staging a major comeback. After years focusing on movies, he was returning to live performance with a landmark television special often referred to as the 68 Comeback Special. This wasn't just a concert, it was a statement. And for the raw, intimate sit-down segments of the show, where Elvis, Scotty Moore, DJ Fontana, and others jammed informally on old hits, Elvis needed the right guitar. He didn't use one of his familiar Gibsons. Instead, he borrowed a striking cherry red Hagstrom Viking II semi-hollow electric guitar. This Swedish-made guitar was visually stunning. It had a fine-dye body, graceful elf holes, distinctive headstock shape, and a vibrant finish that popped under the TV lights. Why a Hagstrom? Reportedly, it belonged to Al Casey, a guitarist playing in the NBC studio orchestra for the special. Elvis liked the look and feel of it, and it was decided it would be perfect for the informal, bluesy jam sessions. The Viking II had a bright, clear tone, thanks to its semi-hollow construction and Hagstrom's own pickups. It cut through beautifully in the mix, allowing Elvis's rhythm playing and fills to be heard distinctly alongside Scotty Moore's lead lines. Watching the special, Elvis looks incredibly comfortable and commanding with the Hagstrom. He uses it to lay down grooves for songs like That's All Right, Heartbreak Hotel, Blue Suede Shoes, and the newly written Guitar Man. The guitar became instantly iconic, forever associated with this pivotal moment in his career, the moment Elvis proved he was still the king, raw and electrifying. Even though it wasn't technically his guitar, and he only used it for these specific sessions, the red Hagstrom Viking II is arguably one of the most important guitars in the Elvis story due to its association with his powerful return to form. It symbolized the cool, lean, and dangerous Elvis, reclaiming his throne. Number 4. The Comeback King's Throne, 1968, Gibson J-200. Reissue Custom. While the Hagstrom stole the show in the sit-down segments, the 68 Comeback Special also featured Elvis performing stand-up numbers with a full orchestra and backup singers. For these segments, particularly the show's dynamic opening sequence, featuring Trouble and Guitar Man, Elvis returned to his visual signature, the Gibson J-200. But this wasn't one of his 50s models. Gibson provided a new J-200, or possibly a dright, older one. Details vary slightly among sources, specifically for the special. It featured a dark finish, often described as ebony or a very dark sunburst. And importantly, it was fitted with a pickup system, allowing its acoustic sound to be amplified effectively through the PA system, crucial for performing with a loud band and orchestra. This guitar looked magnificent under the stage lights, paired with Elvis's famous black leather outfit. It retained all the classic J-200 features: the big body, mustache bridge, crown inlays, and ornate pickguard. Seeing Elvis back in black leather, wielding this powerful-looking J-200, was a defining image of the comeback. He used it to strum the driving rhythm for the Guitar Man medley, symbolizing his return to his musical roots. This specific J-200 wasn't just about looks, it was mic'd or plugged in. Accounts differ. Likely a combination or pickup was installed to deliver the acoustic foundation for the bigger production numbers. It connected the raw energy of the sit-down sessions with the polished power of the stand-up segments. It re-established the J-200 as the quintessential Elvis stage acoustic for this new era. This guitar was present for the rebirth of Elvis as a live performer, bridging his rockabilly past with his future as a Vegas-era superstar. Its presence underscored the themes of the special, reconnecting with his musical power and reclaiming his title as the king of rock and roll. Number 3. The Vegas Sparkle, 1969, Gibson Dove, Custom, Black. Elvis's triumphant return in the '68 special led directly to his legendary residency at the International Hotel in Las Vegas, starting in July 1969. This new chapter required new instruments suitable for a massive stage and a powerful backing band. The TCB band. One of the first guitars prominently associated with this era was a stunning Gibson Dove acoustic, toed in black. The Dove model was slightly smaller than the J-200, featuring a square-shouldered dreadnought shape. Standard Doves were known for their decorative pickguards, featuring an inlaid dove and a dove inlay on the bridge. Elvis's 1969 Dove took this visual flair and amplified it. Finished in ebony black, it featured multiply binding and, most distinctively, his name Elvis Presley, inlaid vertically down the fingerboard in mother of pearl. This was pure Vegas showmanship translated onto a guitar. It was bold, personalized, and unmistakable. He used this guitar extensively during his initial Vegas runs and early tours in 1969 and 1970. Like his later J-200s, it would have been equipped with a pickup system for amplification. The Dove, typically featuring maple back and sides, like the J-200, though some variations exist, offered a bright, clear tone that could cut through the powerful TCB band and orchestra. It became famous for an incident during a show in Asheville, North Carolina, in 1975, though this story is sometimes attached to other guitars as well. Elvis, perhaps caught up in the moment or feeling generous, gave the valuable custom Gibson Dove away to an astonished fan in the front row. Mike Harris was the lucky recipient, and the guitar has since become a sought-after collector's item, occasionally appearing at auctions. This act of spontaneous generosity only added to the guitar's legend. The black Gibson Dove represents the beginning of the jumpsuit era, the transition to Vegas superstardom, and Elvis's larger-than-life stage presence during this period. Number 2. The Aloha Rehearsal Axe Guild, F50, January 1973. Elvis prepares for Aloha from Hawaii via satellite. A concert broadcast lived globally, reaching an estimated 1.5 billion viewers. This was a massive undertaking, a pinnacle of his career. While he famously used his custom Gibson Dove and later J-200s during the actual broadcast, photos and footage from the rehearsals for this monumental event show him playing a different but equally impressive acoustic guitar, a Guild F50. Guild guitars, particularly their large jumbo models like the F50, were well-respected competitors to Gibson and Martin. The F50 featured a large jumbo body, similar in size to the J-200, often with maple back and sides and a spruce top, delivering a powerful, full sound with excellent projection, ideal for stage use. The specific F50 Elvis used during the Aloha rehearsals had a natural finish and the characteristic arched maple back that Guild jumbos were known for, contributing to their volume and distinctive tone. It had a visually striking appearance with its large body, Gill's distinctive headstock shape, and often elegant fingerboard inlays. Seeing Elvis with the Guild F50 during preparations for such a high-profile event highlights his continued search for the right tools for the job. While the Gibson J-200 and Dove remained his primary stage choices for the main shows, the Guild was clearly an instrument he felt comfortable using during the intensive rehearsal process. It shows that even at the height of his fame, with access to any guitar he wanted, practicality and sound sometimes led him to use different brands. The Guild F50 associated with the Aloha rehearsals represents the behind-the-scenes work, the preparation, and the professional musician side of Elvis, ensuring every detail was perfect for a global audience. It's a snapshot of the king preparing for one of his most significant performances, armed with a slightly different but equally capable jumbo acoustic. Number 1. The Vegas and TCB Quaint 1970s Gibson J-200 Customs. The final years of Elvis's career, dominated by Las Vegas residencies and nationwide tours throughout the 1970s, saw the Gibson J-200 return as his undisputed king of stage acoustics. However, these weren't off-the-shelf models. Gibson supplied Elvis with a series of custom-built J-200s, each seemingly more elaborate than the last, perfectly matching the ornate, bejeweled jumpsuits he wore on stage. These guitars were symbols of his status and the sheer scale of his productions. Key features often included stunning finishes, black, white, sunbursts natural, intricate binding on the body, neck, and headstock, and elaborate custom inlays. Perhaps the most famous customization was the TCB lightning bolt logo inlaid on the fingerboard or body. TCB stood for Taking Care of Business, Elvis's personal motto, and the name of his band. This logo, often rendered in mother of pearl, became synonymous with Elvis's 70s stage guitars. Another prominent custom, J-200 from this era, featured his name, Elvis, inlaid down the fingerboard, similar to his earlier Dove. Some guitars featured unique inlay patterns like the Chickaboom J-200, with distinctive fret markers. These guitars were fitted with state-of-the-art pickup systems, for the time, to ensure their sound could fill arenas. They were visually spectacular, designed to be seen from the back rows, gleaming under the stage lights. Elvis often treated these valuable custom instruments almost casually on stage. He famously gave several away to fans or band members during concerts. One well-known recipient was guitarist James Burton, who received a custom J-200. Another story involves him tossing a J-200 aside mid-show, though hopefully caught safely. These weren't just musical instruments. They were integral parts of the Elvis spectacle, symbols of his reign as the ultimate showman. They represent the final glittering chapter of his live performance career, forever linked to the image of Elvis in his jumpsuit, captivating thousands night after night. Several of these iconic 70s J-200s are now treasured exhibits at Graceland or in private collections, embodying the colossal success and larger-than-life persona of the king in his final years.